बोलिए श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। जगत गुरु तम श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की जय। आनंद मानंद कर प्रसन्नम प्रेम स्वरूपम ब्रज भावयुक्तम योगीन्द्रमीड्यम भवरोग वैद्यम गुरुं कृपालुं प्रणमामि नित्यम्। वर्हापीडं नटवरवपुः कर्णयोः कर्णिकारम् बिभ्रद्वासः कनककपिशम् वैजयन्तीं च मालाम् रन्ध्रान् वेणोरधरसुधया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दैर्वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणम् प्राविशद् गीतकीर्तिः। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं ह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your full attention as I conclude the topic of Bhagavad Gita and the valuable lessons we learn from it. If you have your phone with you, please make sure that you put it away. You turn it off. Thank you. Yesterday I spoke about Shri Krishna's instruction to Arjun and thereby to all of us when Shri Krishna says, think of me all the time as you perform your duties in the world. And this is the philosophy of Karma Yoga. Many people profess to know the message of the Gita. They say, I know what the Gita is saying. Shri Krishna is saying, do your work, earn money for your family, take care of your family. That is what he's saying, do your duty. That is one half of what Shri Krishna is saying. Shri Krishna says, do your duty, but do not forget me even for half a moment. If we just talk about doing duty in the world, and that is the ultimate, then we are only karmis. We're only doing our karma. What about the yoga? What about the union of the mind with God? The philosophy of Karma Yoga says, keep God in your mind as you do your as you perform your duty in the world physically. So the body is involved. The sense organs are involved in performing works of the world, and the mind is also involved, but it is attached only to God. And yesterday I had explained that the performance of an action cannot be done without the involvement of the mind, but we can do the same work with the attachment of the mind or with a detached mind. So it is a given that without the mind's involvement, we cannot perform the simplest task. But we don't need to have the mind attached to our duty. We can do it without attachment. So Shri Krishna says, attachment of the mind should be reserved for me, he says, but do your duty in the world, physically. Give the body to the world and give your mind to me. So there is no dilemma. There is no problem for us. We are not given, there's no dilemma before us. Shri Krishna says, well, give yourself physically and mentally to me. He says, give yourself mentally to me. As for the physical body, give that to the world. And the world does not ask for attachment of the mind either. As long as you keep on doing your duty towards your family members, everyone is happy. There's balance in life. There is peace in life. If you stop doing your duty towards your spouse and towards your children and you just say, I'm not going to do anything physically, but oh my goodness, how much I love you in my mind. That is not going to fly. Family members will say, we don't care about the attachment of your mind. We don't care that you love us or not. Just show us that you love us. Do your duty. Cook the meal, clean the house, mow the lawn, do what everybody should pull their weight. People say, you know, what will I do with your love? तुम्हारे प्यार से क्या करेंगे? अचार डालेंगे क्या? चटनी बनाएंगे? You just forget about the love. You just do your duty. And if you ask even a child, does your mommy love you? Does your daddy love you? The child will say yes. And if you ask, how do you know? The child will invariably say, my mommy makes food for me. She buys toys for me. Daddy loves me because he does this for me. He does that for me. So the definition of love that we have made up is, if you do something for me that pleases me, then it's obvious you love me. So Shri Krishna says, where is the problem? You just do your duty in the world and you give your mind to me. Just love me. That's all. The love of our mind should be reserved only for God, because after all, we belong only to God. We would be very naive to think that this body is who we are. We should not define the self to be the body. The self is a soul. And this body, it's ours for this lifetime, and it's constantly changing. And from one life to the next, it changes completely. Completely. Countless times we have been born in the form of a male, countless times as female, countless times we have occupied the body of a bird, an insect, an animal, Devta even in Swargalok, and not only human. Not only have we been born in the human form of life, but in every form of life. 8.4 million forms of life. There are 8.4 million forms of life, and we have been born. We've been born in all those bodies, time and time again, countless times. So it would be very naive of us, foolish of us to think that we are this body. We are the Atma that is within the body. Naham manushyo, na cha deva yaksho, na brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. Na brahmachari, na grihi vanastho, bhikshur na chaham, nija bodha rupa. Hastamalak Stotram. I am not a human, I'm not a devta, I'm not a yaksh, I'm not a brahman nor a kshatriya, I am not vaishya nor shudra. I am not brahmachari, a celibate student, nor am I a householder. I am not a vanaprasthi, a forest dweller, nor am I a mendicant sannyasi. It's the body that is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. It is the body that is celibate or a householder or a forest dweller or sannyasi. The soul has only one qualification, and that is, it is a spark of God. It is a divine fraction of God. The only one we belong to is God. So Bhagwan says, realize who you are, understand who you are. Mamai vansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Gita. Shri Krishna says, all individual souls are my eternal part and parcel. I am the source. So whether we accept this fact now in this life, when we have so much going for us, we're in the human form of life, we belong to Sanatan Vedic Dharma, there is so much knowledge we have at our disposal. We come from a land that is a land of spirituality. We have so much going for us. Whether we accept this fact today, in this life, or countless lives from now, we will have to accept, for our own good, we will have to accept that I am the Atma. I am the soul is who I am. I am not the body. The body is something that I possess. It is my possession. It is not who I am. So Shri Krishna says, understand who you are. Realize who you belong to. You belong to no one but God. And so give your love, reserve your love for God, and do your duty in the world. But how do we give our heart to God? How do we give our mind to God? And Shri Krishna has told us about two practices. I had mentioned them yesterday. And that is, the two practices are Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas. So Karma Yoga meaning, of course, keeping the mind on God while doing works of the world. How do we do it at a practical level? Let me now share that with you. And I'll just remind you that whatever I'm sharing with you, it is from the divine mind of Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, who has taken the very difficult knowledge of the Vedas and Vedic scriptures and made it very easy to understand. Everyone can understand it. A child can understand it, not just the scholars. Shri Maharajji explains, look, you have many things to do in the world. You're busy. Yes, I'm very busy. And isn't it strange that so many feel that being busy is a sign of success? The busier I am, the more successful I seem to be. So many wear their busyness as a source of pride. I'm so busy. Some people say, I'm so busy that I don't even have the time to die. मरने की फुर्सत नहीं है, इतने व्यस्त हैं. And they say it with pride, like, I'm so busy, I'm so successful, I'm so great that I'm very busy. I have no time to think about who I am, where I came from, where I'm going. Of what use is that busyness? Is that a sign of success or failure? We have failed as humans if we have no time to think about who we are. We're not animals. Animals don't have the capacity, mental or intellectual capacity, to think about the higher truths of life. Animals, insects, birds, plants, and trees, they all have intelligence, but they don't have the intelligence to understand or to think about who they are. We humans are different from all these creatures. We do have the capacity to understand. So Shri Krishna says, understand who you are and be karma yogis. Whatever work you're doing, include me in it, says Shri Krishna. In the 9th chapter of the Gita, Shri Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Arjun, whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you eat, offer it to me. Whatever charity you give, offer it all to me. Do it all for me. And then all your works will become acts of devotion. We should not think that devotion is practiced only in the mandir or at home once in a while. Devotion is to be practiced 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. After all, we love our loved ones all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you ask a mother, how much time a day do you love your child? How often do you love your child? What does that mean? I love my child all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Love doesn't take a break. Why do we think that devotion to God is done for a few minutes and that devotion is done like this, bowing our head, doing arti, lighting the deepam, lighting the incense, and we are done? Those are just rituals. Just like a mother loves her child all the time, in the same way we must love God. That's not possible right in the beginning. We have a way to go, but we can surely start. Sant Kabir Das says, Sumiran ki sudhiyon karo, jo surabhi sutmahi, kaha Kabir charo charat, kabahu bisrat nahi. A cow is grazing in the field, but the cow has her young one, her calf, her child on her mind all the time. She doesn't forget about her calf. In the same way, says Sant Kabir, you must think about God. Sumiran ki sudhi yo karo, jo surabhi sutamahi. Surabhi is a cow, and she loves her child, Sutta, her child, all the time. That's a very daunting task, isn't it? But it's not so daunting if we do it a little bit at a time. Let's start. It's just like you have a project to do, and starting is the hardest thing. You have to study for an exam. Starting is the hardest thing. You have to do something and it's so difficult. I don't know, it's going to take so much time. Starting is the most difficult thing, but once you start, then it's not so daunting because you're taking it a little bit at a time, but you're doing it every day. Same thing with devotion. So Shri Krishna says, as you are doing your work in the world, let's say you're in your office or wherever you work, that may be at the university, in a school, in a hospital, wherever you work, at your place of business, at your place of employment, do one thing. Just take me to work in your mind. Shri Krishna says, I'm not going to tell you to take my murti, an image, that you drag that big murti and you take it to your place of work. You take me, you create a manomai murti. One of the murtis, images of God, as per the Bhagavad Mahapuran, is manomai. Murtis, the images of God, are made by metal or wood. There are many dhatus, many ways to create an image of God. Sri Ramchandra ji created a shivling out of sand in Rameshwaram. That's also one of the murtis. But the best murti is manomai, because you don't need anything. You just have your mind, and the mind is always with us. So you create an image of God. Shri Krishna says, take me to work with you. Create an image of mine in your mind, and then take me to work with you. And every hour, on the hour, that will be the easiest, you just think about me for a moment or two. That's it. These days, we're so fortunate that we have the technology with which we can set alarms for every hour on the hour, just to remind us. Until it becomes a habit, we can use technology, and we should. The best use of technology is when we use it to fulfill the ultimate purpose in life. So you can put an alarm and think about, when the alarm rings, oh yes, I must think, is Thakurji with me? And in your mind, you have created an image, you've come to work and you put him, let's say this is your place of work. So you put Shri Krishna on the ceiling or on that table or on that chair, and then every hour on the hour, you just glance up from your work and you say, he's still there. The mischievous one is still there. Your work will not be disturbed, but you are training your mind to think about God. to think about Shri Krishna. And to form a habit, you have to do it a few times. You have to do that same work every day for a few times, and then it becomes a habit. Then you don't have to remind yourself. So when you don't have to remind yourself to think of him for a moment or two every hour, then you reduce that, you cut that time to maybe half an hour or 45 minutes. And then you keep on reducing that time. It's a process. There's no mumbo jumbo, there's no hocus pocus, there's no abracadabra, there's no magic formula, no magic masala. A guru cannot say, look, I bless you with the darshan of Shri Krishna. That doesn't work. That's a hoax. A true guru would never say this. He would never say this because it does not work. So we have to put in the work. But it does produce, that work does produce results. It does produce results. So every half an hour we are thinking of God, and then every 20 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, and ultimately every moment. It takes a lot of hard work. Sri Maharaj used to say, don't let anyone tell you it's impossible, but don't let anyone tell you that you can purchase spiritual experiences for a few hundred or few $1,000s. You cannot. It's not impossible. You cannot, don't think that it's impossible to think of God 24 hours a day, because it's possible. But don't think that it's so easy that you can purchase that experience. No one can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. But the Guru is there to guide you and to inspire you. So that is Karma Yoga Sadhana. You're at home, you're on vacation. Again, the same thing. Thakurji is with me on this vacation. I'm swimming in the ocean. Thakurji is right there. Radharani is there. All the Sakhis are there. The Gwalbal, the cowherd boys are there. My Ishtadev is there. He's my Lord. He's my master. He's my best friend. He's my father. He's also my child. He's my beloved. He's everything rolled into one. And he's right there. We must visualize. Visualize Sri Krishna. What does he look like? We ask, what does he look like? And the answer is, what do you want him to look like? Create an image of him according to your idea of beauty. What is beautiful for you? And create an image of Sri Krishna accordingly. If you say, I've heard Sri Krishna has curly hair. All the saints have said that, he has curly hair. What if you don't like curly hair? You prefer straight hair. All the curly-haired people, they like straight hair. The straight-haired people like curly hair. He says, what we don't have, that's what we want. So if you want straight hair, it's fine. You can have him with straight hair. I don't like the fact that he's dark or he's blue. Okay, so you make him fair-skinned. I don't like all that jewelry on him. It must hurt him. You don't have to put jewelry on him. Create an image of your beloved as you like. And that is so wonderful. The scriptures say, Yena kena pyupayena manah krishne niveshayet. Yena kena prakarena manah krishne niveshayet. Yena kena prakarena. Jaise taise bhi karo. Just only think about, visualize him, no matter how. So, you're visualizing him and you are taking him everywhere. There was a girl, and she told me that she was familiar with this way of doing devotion. She had heard the lectures many times. She was a part of satsang, and she said to me one day, she was sharing her experience. She said, I was crossing the road one day and I was doing Roop Dhyan. This is Roop Dhyan. Roop Dhyan, I was visualizing Sri Krishna and little boy Sri Krishna, and I'm holding on to him. He's my child. I'm thinking he's my child, and I'm holding on to him like this. I'm visualizing this, and halfway, we were crossing the road, and halfway down, the lights changed. Green light turned to amber, And then I said to him, let's hurry up, let's hurry up. And I went like this, hurry up, hurry up. But there's nobody there. People are thinking, what is she doing? Only she knows what she's doing. She's telling little Krishna, you have tiny feet. Hurry up, hurry up. The lights will turn red. She was so caught up in that Roop Dhyan that she really thinks that he is right there. That is the power of Roop Dhyan. Having an image of God in your mind personalizes God. And it makes you fall in love with God. If you're thinking about Brahma, God who has no name, no form, nothing, you still need a form to meditate on him. So you will end up thinking of light, it's jyotis, bright light. Because our mind needs form. It needs something tangible to concentrate on. So Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Kleshodhikata rastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavad bhiravapyate. Arjun, you can think of me as being formless, and you can think of me as having name and form, but I will tell you that it's very difficult to meditate on my impersonal aspect. How can you think of me as having no name, no form? It's much easier to think of me as having a name and having a form. So we are visualizing Sri Krishna, the form of Sri Krishna, and we are taking him everywhere we go during the day, in our minds. That is Karma Yoga Sadhana. You are vacuuming the carpet in your house, and you never like that. That's not your favorite chore. It's a dreaded chore, let's say. But you can change your point of view. You can change your attitude towards vacuuming by thinking, I am doing this. I'm vacuuming for Sri Krishna, my Lord, my Master, my beloved. And then everything changes. There was a devotee, she said to Maharaji, Maharaji, I go to the store and I often fall asleep. And customers don't come, I'm just slumped over the counter. And sometimes the customers wake me up. Excuse me, they say, can you wake up, please? She said, I'm just not interested. Shri Maharaji said, no. You should take interest. Think that this business that you're running along with your husband, it is a way for you to do seva with. You can serve God and Guru with this, through this shop. So take interest in what you're doing. Change your attitude that you're doing this for God and Guru. This is very interesting. I am vacuuming the carpet for the pleasure of my Lord and my beloved Lord, Sri Krishna. Now it becomes really interesting. I'm cooking a meal and it's very difficult. Hats off to those who cook every day, 2-3 times a day, every day. It's so difficult. It could be a very dreaded chore, but if we do this for Sri Krishna, he's looking into he's stirring the pot. He's looking into the pot. He's asking, Aaj kya bana rahe ho mere liye? What are you cooking for me today? And then our attitude changes. No matter what it is, our attitude will change once we bring Sri Krishna into it. Now, who could have thought that cooking a meal for the family could be an act of devotion? हम तो ये सोचते हैं ना मंदिर में जाके होती है, कीर्तन भजन करते हैं तभी भक्ति होती है. We think that when I'm doing kirtan and bhajan, that's when I'm doing devotion. When I go to the mandir, that's when I do devotion. Mandir has it's a wonderful place, but don't do devotion only when you come to the mandir. Do it 24 hours a day, or strive towards it. Do it throughout the day, starting with a moment or two of reflection on Krishna every hour. There was a man, and he was a miserly man. He never gave charity to anyone. He was just hoarding his wealth. One day, he went to listen to a lecture. And in the lecture, he heard that you should do Roop Dhyan and how you can serve Sri Krishna in your mind. And that is the best seva that you can perform for Sri Krishna. You see, we are told that we should serve God and Guru with tan, man, dhan, physically, mentally, and financially. But out of all these, the service we perform in the mind is the most important. So he said, oh, that's good. I don't have to spend any money. to serve him. I don't have to go to the temple. I don't have to serve God by giving my money away. And I don't have to buy anything, fruits and flowers. That will take money also. So I will just serve him in my mind. And Shri Krishna smiled when he read this thought of this mind, the mind of this man. Anyway, so this miserly man started doing Rup Dhyan, and he got really good at it. We become experts by doing the same thing again and again. So he did Rup Dhyan again and again. He became an expert. He became very good at it. So now in his mind, he was cooking a fancy meal for Shri Krishna. He would never do it for real because it would take a lot of money to cook a fancy meal. But he was doing it in his mind, and he was thinking, okay, I have made this dal, and I have made this matar paneer, and I have made this parantha, this and that, so much, and I have made kheer, rice pudding. I have made the dessert. And then he was about to take this big platter of food in his mind to Shri Krishna, in his mind, and he thought, oh, I should put some saffron, kesar, some strands of kesar in the kheer, because the color would become very nice, saffron color, and the fragrance is amazing. So in his mind, he is sprinkling from the little tin, the container, he was sprinkling the kesar. And in his mind, he put too much kesar in. And because he's miserly, in his mind, he said, oh, I wasted so much kesar. I should take some out. And he was taking, with a spoon, he was taking some of the kesar out in his mind, doing Rup Dhyan. And Shri Krishna really appeared before this man, grabbed his hand and said, let it go. You're not spending any money on it. So Shri Krishna himself appeared because this man was doing Rup Dhyan. He was truly thinking, this is real. I'm really doing this. I am serving my Lord. But he was very attached to his money. So he didn't want to spend any money. And Shri Krishna smiled and said, Lo jane do, it's okay. You're doing Rup Dhyan. I'll respond to that. Similarly, there's a story of a man who had learned to do Rup Dhyan, and he had become such a devotee by doing Rup Dhyan that Shri Krishna said to Radharani from Golok that let me show you a wonderful devotee. So this man was offering food. He was a very humble man. He had made some chapati and some sabji and some rice and dal. That's what he was offering. He was offering it in his mind to Sri Radha and Krishna, and then he thought, I think maybe the dal is too hot. So inadvertently, rather than checking with a spoon, and he stuck his finger in the dal, the bowl of dal. And the dal was very hot, so he took it up. Ow, ouch, he said. And what happened was, then his reverie broke, and he thought, oh, I will get another bowl of dal. I put my finger in it, foolishly. But Shri Radha and Krishna were looking at him, and the man's finger actually burned. He actually burned his finger by placing his finger in that very hot dal. We start off imagining. We imagine. Fact is, Shri Krishna is everywhere. But because we don't accept that, the mind doesn't accept it. So we have to imagine, okay, Shri Krishna is here, and I am doing this for him. I am now doing this for him. I'm cooking a meal for him. I'm offering this to him. I'm offering him a glass of water. We have to imagine that. And the fact is, he's here everywhere. So he responds. Because you see, God and Guru become very happy when we make an effort to go towards them. Many of you must have heard, Jo tu dhave ek pag, to main dhaun saath. Jo tu karro kaath, to main lohe ki laat. Bhagwan says, if you take one step towards me, I will run 60 steps to meet you. But if you don't make any effort, then what can I do? So we make some effort to go to him, and he runs. We take baby steps towards him, and he runs fast. He takes 60 steps. He runs so fast to meet us. In other words, for a little bit of an effort, he gives us so much reward. So Rup Dhyan, doing karma yoga sadhana. As I do works, perform my worldly chores, I will think of him. And systematically, not just, oh, I will think about him. And the mind says, you know what, you're always thinking of him. The fact is, no. We may have thought about Shri Krishna for maybe altogether 10 minutes in a day. And the mind is saying what? You thought about him all the time. Hours and hours. That's our mind. Our mind is our biggest fan. So we should not trust our faulty mind. I always say that we come highly recommended by our own mind. Our mind is the one that says, you are the best devotee. You are the best person. There's no one like you. That's our mind. We shouldn't listen to our mind. But systematically, we must do sadhana. I will think of God every hour on the hour. I will put on the alarm in my iPhone. And when the alarm goes off, I will think about him. Otherwise, we are always asking the question, but how do I do it? Okay, so 6 months pass and we don't do anything. And then next time, but how do I do it? Then a year passes, we don't do anything. Then we say, but how do I do it? But we didn't put in any practice. And yet we say it's so difficult, so hard. Practice makes perfect. We need to practice. So karma yoga sadhana, the other one is karma sannyas sadhana. Some people say, I'm always thinking of God. But when you say, and I speak to a lot of people, I say, but you've got to do like 1 hour of sadhana every day. That's, when you're asking me, and I will tell you, at least do 1 hour. Oh, but Didiji, I'm always thinking about God. Now, isn't it funny that you cannot think of him for 1 hour, but you're thinking of him 24 hours a day? You see how our mind fools us? I cannot do something for 1 hour a day, but I'm doing it 24 hours a day. That doesn't make sense. How can you say that your mind is always thinking of God, and yet you're not disciplined enough to think of him 1 hour a day? That doesn't make sense. Karma sannyas sadhana is a must. You see, our mind is like milk, and the world, worldly environment, atmosphere, it's like water. We're always in touch with the world, and so the world is mixing with the mind. So water is mixing with the milk. So milk is not pure anymore. Our mind is like milk. What we must do so that the water of the world will not mix with our mind, the world will not interfere with the mind, is we should make that milk into butter. First, turn it, put it aside, put the milk aside, make it into dahi, curd, yogurt. And then you churn the yogurt to extract butter out of it. The old-fashioned way of making butter. So we should take our mind and put it in a quiet place somewhere. In other words, we must do sadhana in private. Vivikta Sevi Laghubhashi, says the Bhagavad Gita. Take yourself to a quiet place and practice devotion. There should be nobody there. For that hour or so, you are a sannyasi. You renounce everything. You renounce your family, your business, everything. You don't keep your phone with you. That is not the way to do sadhana. There is no phone, and you have to think, I have no family, I have no job, I have nothing. I am a child of God. That's it. Peel off all those layers. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm old, I'm young, I'm middle-aged, I'm tall, I'm short, I am a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm Hindu, I'm this, that. Peel off all those layers so you think, I am a child of God. That's the only thing I am. And then, using bhajans and kirtans. That is a recommended method. Recommended by God himself. So we should not second guess God. We should not second guess God. Bhagwan says, in Kali Yuga, the only way to take your mind to me is through the practice of bhajan and kirtan. Through bhajan and kirtan. Kali Yuga keval naam adhara, sumiri nar utarahi para. The only way to take our mind to God, the only way to focus the mind on God in Kali Yuga is by chanting the names and the glory and the pastimes of God. If someone says, what about for me? I don't like chanting. For everyone, there's the same method. Same way, same. In Krita Yuga or Satyug, there's a specific method. In Treta Yuga, the method changes. In Dwapar, it changes again. Krita Yuga sab jogi vigyani kari hari dhyan tarahi bhav prani Treta vividh yagya nar karahi Prabhu hi samarpi karma bhav tarahi Dwapar kari raghupati pad puja Nar bhav tariye upaya na duja Kali jug keval hari gun gaha Gavat nar pavat bhav thaha Hare namaiva 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 mama jivanam kalau nastyeva gatiranyatha Skanda Puran. In many scriptures it is said that for people of Kali Yuga there is only Nam Sankirtan or Gun Sankirtan, Leela Sankirtan. In Krita Yuga, in Satyug, the prescribed method was quiet meditation. You close your eyes and you were so pure of mind that you could visualize, you can think of God. But in Treta Yuga, the mind was not so pure. So the method of focusing the mind on God, the recommended method changed. So Bhagwan said, for people living in Treta, you can best focus your mind on me by doing Havan, Yajna, performing Yajna. For people of Dwapar, you can do puja, ritualistic puja, and that will be the best way for you to think about me. For people of Kali Yuga, we have the worldliest mind. Bhagwan said, I'll make it easiest for you. The easiest method is to chant my names and pastimes and my glory, and it will be easier for you to think of me. So, with the help of bhajans and kirtans, we should sit in a private place where no one is going to disturb us, and we should focus the mind on God. We should visualize. So now in the mind, Sri Krishna is performing many pastimes. Our mind should become like Vrindavan. It should become like Vrindavan, Barsana, where Radha and Krishna are performing sweet pastimes. Pastimes of God are very important for us. The pastimes we hear about, Sri Krishna's pastimes, they charm us, they delight the heart. And that is exactly why he comes down to earth and performs them, so that we may fall in love with him even after more than 5,000 years ago. It's been more than 5,000 years that he descended to earth last time, towards the end of the previous age, Dwapar Yuga. So sometimes you're thinking about Sri Krishna as a little boy who is in trouble with Mother Yashoda because he has been eating dirt. And he is pleading with Mother Yashoda, don't tie me up. Maya, don't tie me up. Maya, I swear I did not eat dirt. And Maya Yashoda says, open your mouth. And he says, I'll open it. But, you know, it's very sad that you don't trust your own child. Because one of his friends had come and said, Kanhaiya's been eating dirt. And Kanhaiya said, you believe him? You don't believe your own child? And he's thinking, Maya will feel guilty and she'll say, no, I trust you. I don't trust Sri Dama. That's not my child. You are my child. And he says, yeah, I don't trust you. And he was not expecting this. So he becomes so afraid, looking at the little stick in Maya Yashoda's hands and looking at the rope that she has. And he becomes so scared that his mouth opens all by itself. Charming Leela. He's playing with his friends. Kanhaiya is going to the cows early in the morning because the cows, they don't become satisfied unless they see him, and they keep on crying for him. So he goes every morning and he addresses them by name. Kajiri is his favorite cow. He always wants the milk of Kajiri cow. He is being fussy with Mother Yashoda. She's saying, Kanhaiya, what do you want? He says, Maya, I want milk. I'll bring you milk, but I want milk of Kajri. Only Kajri's milk, no other cow's milk. And Maya says, well, Kajri has gone to graze. But Maya, I want her milk. Well, when she comes back, I'll milk her myself and I'll give you the milk. Maya, when is she coming back? Maya says, when it's evening time. Evening? Sham ka samay? What does that mean? Kanhaiya, when it becomes dark, that's evening. So Kanhaiya closes his eyes and he says, Maiya, it's dark now. Can you give me Kajri's milk? Charming, charming Leelas, pastimes of Sri Krishna. He's a little child, he's not even toddler, he hasn't learned how to walk, so he's crawling on all fours. And he's going towards his mother, he's hungry, he wants milk. And as he's crawling on all fours, he looks down and he sees his reflection in the ground. He sees his reflection because the floor in Nanda and Yashoda's palace is studded with gems and diamonds. That was the wealth they had 5,000 years ago. The floor is studded with gems and diamonds. He sees his own reflection and he is so attracted by his own beauty that he thinks it's a little boy. And he wants to embrace that boy tightly. He wants to give a tight embrace. So he tries, but he cannot. We all know you can't embrace your own reflection. So when he fails in his endeavor, then he uses the greatest, the most powerful weapon every child has, and that is tears. He starts crying out loud. And Mother Yashoda stops what she's doing and she immediately runs to him. And she doesn't understand why he's crying. And he repeatedly points to the ground and she figures it out. Oh my goodness. My child has fallen in love with himself. He wants to embrace his own reflection. How is she going to explain to him that this cannot be done? So she looks at the ground and he feels very sad that this boy will not embrace him. So Maya Yashoda goes like this, claps her own hands as if to say that she is punishing the ground, which will not allow her little child to embrace this child because the ground is in the way. And Kanhaiya becomes very happy. She distracts him and then she picks him up and she feeds him. And then he forgets all about that. When he's older, he was standing by the Yamuna river and he was playing the flute. Kanhaiya was playing the flute and Radharani standing beside him and listening to the sweet sound of the flute. And Thakurji looked down in the water and he saw his own reflection. And he was just about to faint and fall into the water when Radharani held on to him, stopped him from falling. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu says, Rupa dekhi apanar Krishnero hoy chamatkar, ashwadite mane uthe kam. When Shri Krishna beholds his own beauty, he becomes charmed by his own beauty. And he becomes attracted by himself. And he wishes, Shri Krishna often wishes, says, I wish I were in the form of Radharani or the Gopi, so that I could taste the nectar of my own beauty. Jagadguru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj says in one of his kirtans that Radharani tastes the nectar of Shyam Sundar's beauty, but she cannot taste the nectar of her own beauty. Shyam Sundar tastes the nectar of Radharani's beauty, but not his own. But the gopis are the fortunate ones. They taste the nectar of both Radha and Krishna's beauty. So all this can be going on in the mind as you are practicing devotion. Who says devotion is dull? It's supremely interesting. When we have the bhajans and kirtans composed by the divine saints, Sri Maharaj Ji, Jagadguru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj has given us so many, thousands and thousands of bhajans, kirtans, dohas, couplets, kirtans, so much material, just so that we may use them in our devotional practice. And when you are sitting down and all these, you are trying to do Rup Dhyan and your mind goes here and there, then take Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone. And that is such a simple sounding practice, and it is. But trust me, if you have not practiced doing that, it is as effective as it is simple. When the mind goes to loved ones, family members, or it goes shopping, it goes to the dishes in the sink, where else does the mind go? It goes here and there, or it may go to another country, it may go on vacation. Wherever the mind goes, put Lord Krishna there, so then you're thinking about Lord Krishna again. So this is Karm Sannyas Sadhana. When you've taken sannyas from all your duties and all your family members from the world in general, and you have done devotion, You've tried to think of him. You've tried to do Roop Dhyan for 1 hour at the very least. Karma, Sannyas, Sadhana. Karma Sannyas and Karma Yoga Sadhana both are recommended by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha karma yoga sadhana. Think of me at all times while you fight the battle, O Arjun. And sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. O Arjun, renounce all duties and obligations and surrender to me alone. This is karma sannyas sadhana. And both these methods are to be employed by all of us if we wish to move towards our ultimate aim in life. Every time we're given the human form of life, we're given a very rare opportunity to go further, to go closer and closer to our ultimate aim. I will humbly request your full attention, because what you just heard was very practical. You'll have to admit, it's very practical. It's what to do in daily life. But I will conclude this brief series of talks on the Bhagavad Gita by saying that we have ended up with a very rare opportunity as humans. Kabahu kari karuna nar dehi det ish binu hetu sanehi. Bhagwan says, Tulsidas ji says, or you can say Bhagwan Sri Ram says through Tulsidas ji in the Ramayana, God gives the rarest gift, the most precious gift to the most blessed soul once in a while in the form of a human birth. This life is not to be taken lightly. It's not to be taken for granted. We have received this greatest treasure. So we must make our utmost effort to move closer towards our goal. Obviously, it's apparent to us that in our previous lives as humans, we have worked towards fulfilling our ultimate aim in life. Therefore, we are now interested in knowing our aim in life. We do take some amount of interest. Some take a lot of interest, some take little bit interest, some take ordinary interest, some take extraordinary interest in spirituality, but we are all taking interest in God and godliness. And that is not accidental. We have worked towards the fulfillment of our ultimate goal in life. So in this life, we must do the same. We must go further and further towards our ultimate goal. So even if we don't fulfill in this life, we will be given the credit in the next life. And then again, why does God give to some the human body and to others the body of a dog or body of an insect, an animal, bird, tree, plant? It is due to the effort one has made. So if we have made sincere effort to go towards our goal in life, which is God, then we will be given God, we will give God a reason to give us the human birth once again, so that we may continue on our journey. May we all use this opportunity well. May we all make best use of this time that we have been given. May we be humble enough to accept a guru as a guru and heed his instruction, and not listen to the mind when the mind says, but I thought I have to do this. May we be humble enough to accept the teachings and the instructions of a true messenger of God, known as a guru. And may we quickly attain the ultimate goal of life. बोलिए लाडली लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, बोलिए भगवद गीता की जय, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।